Hey guys, what's up? I had the opportunity to sit down with Riot Ten before his show in Denver a few weeks ago, and I absolutely adored talking to him. Chris is such a down to earth guy, and kind of separating Chris from the persona of Riot 10 was really awesome to kind of look under the hood to find out who he is as a person. We talk about everything from a sustainable touring life to building yourself as an artist for longevity and not the hot pop, and stabilizing, having a family all the while being gone on the weekends. And it was just a really enlightening conversation. I'm so glad I had the chance to get to know Chris a little bit more after touring with him in fall of 2021 on the Hyper Die Tour. He just put out a killer new EP, so make sure to go and check that out and stream that. Without further ado, we've got a few sponsors who are part of the show now that I'm very, very hyped to have on board. We have Lunchbox Packs joining the Lizzy Jane podcast family, as well as Vitapler, who has been along for the ride since day one. And I'm very happy to have them. This is Lizzy Jane. You're tuning into my podcast with special guest Riot 10. Hey guys, so lately I've seen a ton of larger shows I've been playing at that a lot of these festivals and venues are no longer allowing bags that are not clear. Well, guess what? Lunchbox Packs is coming in clutch again. They have just stepped up their anti-theft bags by releasing a fully clear hydration pack and snack pack. This is an absolute game changer for your summer festivals and events. Each bag is made out of TPU material that is incredibly durable, flexible, and made to not alter under extreme sun exposure over time. You also have the option to bring a skin in your bag on the way in, and once you're through that security line, you can zip on your skin for privacy of your belongings and to add some extra personalized fun flair. These hydration packs meet the majority of all festival regulations and guidelines. As always, these packs have all of the awesome anti-theft features as the original hydration and snack packs. Make sure you use code LizzyJane for $10 off any hydration pack and code LizzyJ for $5 off any snack pack. I will see you at the rave. The show today was brought to you by Vitapler E-Boost Gum. With no pill to take or powders to mix, Vitapler E-Boost Gum is a first-of-its-kind energy rave supplement that provides magnesium, electrolytes, and antioxidants while you chew. Vitapler is the perfect complement to my active lifestyle, whether it's at the festival, on the road touring, or hitting the gym. Chew Vitapler and dance with confidence. Use code LizzyJane for 10% off any order. Chris, Riot 10, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's a little bit early here in Denver, but we finally made it happen. So yeah, appreciate you.
Finally made it happen. Nothing like a 1 hour sleep, 4 a.m. flight.
Yeah.
Here at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. I mean, I didn't need a flight in this early, but I'm glad I was able to actually fly early because it actually makes sense, with your schedule. So
100%.
Perfect. Yeah.
And you're playing church tonight, Church Nightclub, Denver, Colorado. Yes. It's going to be super sick. It's kind of like the day before a holiday that you always fucking celebrate. And you've always incorporated like Spanish influence, kind of like Latina influence music into your sets. Tomorrow is Cinco de Mayo. Right, so couldn't ask for a better time to, have you come through the city.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, Denver is always, anytime I play any type of like, Hispanic or like Latin music, Denver's always had like really good reaction to it. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I think it's a really good, a good place to play, the day before Cinco de Mayo. So
absolutely
ready for it. Yeah.
And you just came off of Paradise Blue.
I did.
In Cancun. Yeah. How was that?
Oh, it was a time. I mean, I was basically like in bed or back at least in my room by 12 every day. So it's definitely responsible. But no, it was a great time. Honestly, probably one of my more like favorite time or shows, I guess, or experiences that I've had. Especially meeting a bunch of like fans and people, because I mean, you can't really go anywhere without running into like people, right? So it's like, it was cool just to like walk around and see, people come up to you and like, either show their appreciation or just like love in general. So I think that's what probably made it one of my favorite experiences. and no one was like, overwhelming at all. It was like really respectful as far as like, say, quote unquote personal space. It was just a great time, honestly. I hope I get to play next year. So
I feel like Jeff is really good at curating those like types of events where it kind of breaks down that fourth wall between like the fans and the artists. And it's
yeah.
not this like untouchable barrier and you're being escorted on a golf cart. It's like everybody's hanging out together.
Hmm.
Everybody's respectful. You get to like meet fans, hear their stories, why they love you. I'm sure it's like a super humbling experience. And
Yeah.
then, from the position you're in now where you've just played so many massive festivals and so many events and had tons of headline tours, when you go into an event like Paradise Blue, you said it was kind of your favorite that you've been to in a while as
Yeah.
far as that connection aspect and so on and so forth. Why do you walk away from certain events, reminiscing that like this was a really, really good one? Because you play just so many.
Uh, I mean, you're talking about like Paradise Blue specifically, correct?
Like Paradise Blue specifically, but just like in general, like EDC Las Vegas is coming up. You've done so many
Yeah.
EDCs, you're doing Rampage, all that stuff. When you walk away from events that have now become like your life, like your day to day in your career as Riot 10, what makes something incredibly
Okay.
memorable for
Okay, cool.
you?
Right.
Like artist
Okay. Yeah.
perspective.
Okay. I was trying to figure out exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I mean, I think it all just really. I think each one, like each, I guess, like show or festival has like its own, different like, experience in its own self. I mean, for like EDC, like seeing like a bunch of like your like producer homies, like that's always I really enjoy always like being around a bunch of artists. Like it's fun. And besides that, I think obviously EDC, just obviously like the art they have there, like all of the installations they have, all of the like decorations. So that experience in itself, I think you always walk away from that just kind of like wowed, because it's crazy to see. There's just so much time put into those festivals and decorations and all that. So like for EDC, then like in that case, like like for obviously like Paradise Blue. I mean, you're in Cancun, so it's like what's not to like about that? But it's for me, like I've been to like say like Hawaii, I've been to like Cabo, I've been to all those places. So I mean that there's water and beaches there everywhere. But like I said, like in that experience as far as Paradise Blue goes, the fan like just being just amongst the fans and like not, there's no, like you said, no golf carts. There's no like I mean they had like a green room really, but no one was in the green room. Like it's just you're like, just kind of hang out with everybody and like just kind of have fun. So like for me, that experience like was what made that memorable. And then just like obviously like just even just a regular show, those are like sometimes in itself just different types of things. Sometimes maybe you might meet a fan that like, you know, is like one of your biggest fans. So that makes that memorable because, you met someone who's they say sometimes you like change their lives. And sometimes it's kind of weird for me because I think I'm like, I just make dubstep. Like there's no way I could like save anyone's life or I could, change anyone's life. But I mean, I guess I'm not the person to to go and say that that doesn't do anything for anyone because like everyone has their own experience with music, and I mean it obviously is amazing to hear. I guess it's just I don't know. Maybe I not that I undervalue my music sometimes, but maybe I got to think a little bit more outside the box.
Well, I think that's like the beauty of music and like
Right.
what these experiences bring. Cause,
Hmm.
especially as, you're like, I make dubstep, like I on my computer, like I
Yeah,
didn't save
exactly.
anybody's life, like da da da.
Right.
But when you take the time and you've always been someone to really care about the community. And I think
Mm,
that's just a huge aspect in not only just being a long-term successful artist. Like it's so much
right.
about the community and like your fan base and like all growing all of those things.
Right.
You've always taken the time, whether we see it on your social media or we see it in person in the green rooms with the beer pong, like to have that fan experience. And not every artist does that. And to each their own. I think every artist goes through certain things, especially when they're touring all the time. But just doing like a few dates with you, like in 2021,
Yeah,
it's a party from start to finish. You want everybody to have the best time.
for sure.
When you go on, it's like this climactic point, and it's something that I think people kind of box artists like you in this full experience of like I walked away from having the best night of my life. Like could
Yeah.
have been going through so much shitty stuff in my life, but when I came here, I forgot everything. And I think that's
Mm,
the beauty in what we do as a job is people spend their like hard-earned
for
money
sure.
to, support us and come. And then like we get to give them this escape and this environment that they can just like have the time of their life.
It's a good point. Yeah, I think I always forget to like think about that sometimes about like, there it's like escape, and it is like an experience and like a getaway for people, so it's like, and at the end of the day, like you never know what someone is going through. Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, and like there's so many just varieties and like of this like different problems maybe people may have or things like, because I mean life in general is like, it is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like life isn't easy at all. It's complicated. It's, from, you have kids, your job, um, family health. There's just your own health. Like it's the list goes on, so it's I definitely feel like, it's important to get out there and like enjoy yourself and like take some time away. Like if it's possible. And obviously so that like money, tight for some people. So that's why a lot of times, like if someone like will, they hit me up and it's, they're like, hey, like I've gone to, let's say, your past 5 shows. This time I can't because, you know, actually there's a big fan of mine. His name's Gio. I think he lives in Denver, but he's always I see him at like every show. I like
Love it.
even in like regional, like he's everywhere. And he had hit me up saying that he was having like some financial problems because due to his car. And he's like, I'll see you next time. And I was like, nah, dude, like you've supported me, I don't know how many times, buy me, I don't know how many tickets. I was like, dude, I got you the free ticket. Like I got you the +1, like come bring someone. Um, so it's like, I feel like it's important to like be able to like, to also give back and to help. Because at the end of the day, like we're not able to do any of this without people supporting us first. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you didn't have any fans, if they weren't buying tickets or merch, I wouldn't be able to like, support my family.
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm able to like help someone with a ticket, like that does like it's not gonna hurt anybody. Like I would love to help. So anytime anyone messages me like for like, give me like not necessarily they have to give me a story, but just like someone's like, hey, like I don't have money right now. Would love to fucking just come out and have fun. Like I've been kind of going through a rough time. Like, I don't mind helping. Because I mean, yeah, I mean I've been, we all struggle.
Yeah.
And we all
100%.
at the end of the day we just all want to like just be happy. Literally.
We all want to be happy. We all don't want to have stress. We all would
Yeah.
love no problems in the world.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. But I do feel like one, especially with EDC coming around and we see all the guest list tweets and
Yeah.
conversations
Oh, dude, that's
going on.
hilarious.
It's hilarious. But that's why we have guest lists is to do that for people
Mhm.
like fans who have supported us endlessly. And then it's
Yeah.
like, hey, like, don't fucking worry about it because
Mhm.
we see, when you start to see the same usernames and the same names
Yeah.
kind of come through, whether it's a meet and greet or it's a comment or it's a share, you see people who are ride or die for you, no matter
sure.
what level you're at as like an artist or a touring
Yeah.
act.
Yeah, no, I feel like, I mean, as I guess as long as you, handle or mostly handle your socials yourself, or at least try to like people, I mean, I'm sure like keep really, really busy artists, it's harder for them to be on it themselves.
Mhm.
But one thing I've always taken pride in is like me being on social myself and making sure that like I see everything, that I reply to people. I try to respond to everyone, like, because for me, it's like, someone will just mention me like in their story. It's like, oh, great set tonight, or like, it's just not even talking directly to me, but just posting their story. And I always try my best, even if it's like, a couple hundred mentions in a night. I try right before I go to bed or like in the morning at least, try to go each one, just like, even if it's just a heart or something, just something that, that tells them that like I noticed that they're there and like I appreciate them coming.
Mhm.
So I've always tried to like reply to people because it's crazy how just a simple reply just like can make someone's day.
Yes.
And it literally just takes like 1 second.
It
And
takes 1 second.
And it's like 1 second just to like, to show some love and like appreciation. So it's like I've always aimed to do that. And I will continue to try, to do it. I mean, I don't see any problem with it right now. So I don't see why not.
100%. I mean, I think at the end of the day too, it's very easy. You've been doing this obviously a lot fucking longer than I have, but I feel like I've been doing it long enough to
Mm,
see that you can get lost really easily
for sure.
and you can lose touch with reality. You can lose your grasp on, I think what society does on a normal day-to-day basis, going festival to festival, and you're not sleeping and your sleep schedule's fucking off the roof, and then you're going overseas and then you're coming back, and it can very easily become a party all the time where you can kind of lose your like, oh wait, this was my goal and this was my aspiration and this is what I'm thankful for. And I feel like you've always kept that, which is amazing. And then at the end of the day too, I feel like in genuine, like unauthentic people usually show themselves out in one way or another.
Yeah.
And the I would say the more kind of experienced guests like yourself that I've been able to have on, like I really just see how down to earth and humble and like, you know, at the end of the day, like we're all real people. We all have real problems. Like you yourself have a family. And it's like this crazy duality, you know. We were talking about it a little bit earlier. Tell me about how you like balance your life. Like, and I'm sure at times it's harder than others, but sure. I can't imagine having 2 children, you know, a husband, and having this whole kind of like Hannah Montana back and forth where like you're the dad and like you're going to parent meetings and then you're leaving on the weekend and you're playing like sold out clubs.
Yeah, no, I think about it all the time. Like when I'm, you know, say like on the airport on the way home, or like when I just get back for something like from a show, it is definitely, it's not easy. I think it's easy if you like work on it, you know, and actually set a like, I'm gonna say boundaries, but like routine almost. So yeah, so I have a 5-year-old and then I have a 15-year-old. They're both in school already. My youngest is in pre-K. My oldest is about to be a sophomore like in 3 months. So like
fucking crazy.
Teenagers are crazy. Because teenagers themselves already have their own. They're trying to like figure out who they are. They're already dealing with, you know, like the opposite sex and dating, grades and stress. So like teenagers themselves, it's a hard thing to deal with already. But my oldest is he's a good kid.
Yeah.
And I had him when I was really young. So I had him when I was, well, I guess his mother had him.
Yeah.
16.
Okay.
So he's about the age now that when he was born, like we had him. So it's like I try to explain to him like, hey, like please be careful.
Yeah.
Just, please, we need anything, just let me know, I'm here for you. But yeah, going back to like the balance thing. Yeah, it's for me is what has worked is just routine. And it's just like not, like you said, like not getting lost really. And like always remembering that like I do have a family to come home to and to be there for and to provide for. So I can't just, you know, say like, I can't be like, oh, I'm going to spend an extra 2 days in whatever city I'm in just because I want to. Like I have to get back because I have to wake up in the morning at 6 a.m. every day on the weekdays and take my youngest to school, come back, take my oldest to school.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, I think I'm not gonna say mastered, but I think I've got a really good routine on. So, you know, you just make time for your loved ones, make time for your family. And then, I mean, although it is hard because then you're trying to like focus on your career because in turn, like focusing on your career is what allows you to be able to provide for your family. So it goes hand in hand. And I think it's worked out, you know, just take the kids to school, come back, go to the gym, try to stay healthy as well. Cause being on the road is super just like not healthy basically.
Yeah.
So you have to, you know, and so I try to go to the gym right after that, come back and then I work on music. Then basically I just work on music till whenever I need to. I try not to spend too much time working on music per day because then I feel like I burn myself out.
Yeah.
And making music so now for like 14 years, I feel like it's important to be able to take breaks and to give yourself, you know, breaks.
Yeah. No, they're so important.
Yeah. Like there's sometimes where I won't produce, you know, for like a week or two and I'll just play Xbox. And when I come back to it, it feels fresh, you know, and sometimes I won't even come back to like producing like dubstep. Maybe I'll make a house song and that kind of like, say I'm making a house song or a bass house song, I find the lead that I think is dope. And then like, okay, cool. Actually, this might work actually in a dubstep song too. Or and I just switch it up a little bit, tweak it, and then now it works, you know, for the dubstep song. So it's just time management. And I think it's like people have asked me like, other like producer friends, and they're like, is it hard having like a kid and being like a DJ? And I would say like it has its challenges, but I think there really is no other way than to make it work.
Yeah.
Because if you will make time for your family and your kid, and as long as you have, a good support system, it's gonna be okay. You just need to make time more, and just time management just needs to be a little bit better.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's me, your kid. You're gonna make time for your kid. Like
100%.
this is your career. You're gonna make time for your career. So it's like it all works out.
And I feel like with you having a family and you having this other life, like you
Mhm.
don't have this huge kind of like wiggle gap to really fuck around. So I
Mm-mm.
feel like you're really on top of that time batching and time management
Yeah.
with if you even took the family and the wife and the kids out of it, you still have to do that all the time as an artist. Like you have to batch your time, you have to not burn out, you have to be
Yeah.
proactively building. And when you kind of get in your creative flow, are you someone who you can sit down and finish a track in a day? Or are you someone who kind of sound designs, does conceptual building, and then maybe goes back in and arranges the sounds you made? Like, is
Mhm.
it different every time? Or do you kind of have this like set order of operations that you've found to follow in the last 14 years?
Honestly, it's been the same
Mhm.
since 14 years. I I would say I'm kind of like unorthodox on the way I produce. Like to so like to begin with, so I basically have like this. Um, it's kind of preset that I made. So I use FL, and
Yep.
it's a Maximus. It's a Maximus preset, and I basically, as soon as I open up, just like the DAW, I'll put that preset on Maximus, and it's like that's my master already. So, and it's like a general master, so like it works pretty well for basically all genres. So when I start making music, it's already mastered. So as I'm producing, I'm just mixing as I go. So at the end, by the time I'm done, it's just art. The track's already finished.
Yeah.
So, and I know most people don't do that. So that's the way I do that. But as far as like, I guess my process, I usually finish songs within a day.
Yeah.
A lot of times because if I'm into something, I'm like really into it, and I'm like I don't want to stop until like I finish it.
Mhm.
So if I start at say 10 in the morning, then I'll probably go maybe to like 6 p.m. I don't like producing at night.
Yeah.
I've always been like that. I prefer like when it's like when it's bright outside. It just kind of gives me this like I don't know, like feels good. Like I
Like
feel
a
productive.
like I'm
Yeah,
gonna produce, I'm gonna like motivate
yeah. It's
myself,
like
we're focused,
yeah,
like daytime.
like natural like sunlight coming in, and you just feel like I don't know. It's weird. I don't. I've never liked producing. I mean, now that I'm older too, I'm like I get tired
Mhm.
way sooner than I used to.
Yeah.
So so like I'm probably in bed by 11 during the weekdays. Plus I have to wake up at like 6 a.m. So
Makes sense.
but yeah, the process I usually just straight produce. And then obviously I'll come in the next day and take a listen to it because obviously after listening for 8 hours in a row, like your ears aren't gonna be the same. So I'll go back and listen to it, see that and tweak things. But yeah, usually it just I honestly I feel like the way I produce is just kind of like just I try not to take it too serious. And I know I get like shit from people sometimes because they're like, oh, like Riot Ten's music, his music is like it's corny or it's like this is this. But the thing is like I'm not trying to be like super like serious about music. Like it's not
Yeah.
like if you want to, you can. That's fine. But like for me, I just find it like it's just fun. Like finding like vocalists to fit on a certain thing and like a certain song. It's just like I just find it fun. And like the way I see it is like pop music exists for a reason.
Mhm.
It's like a lot of pop music is corny, but it's corny because it's catchy. And I mean, I think I've had success in that sense of like having vocalists that have like some very like because I'm not saying my drops aren't great because I think they're like solid, but I think where I excel is like finding vocals for those songs and making that song memorable, especially because of the lyrics and the vocals on it. So yeah, that's my
I
process.
love it. It's like taking the aspect of like a hook and a chorus, like
Yeah,
you were listening to like hip hop or you listen to like pop music
exactly.
and consolidating that into like a phrase, like I'm fucking
Hmm.
headbanger or like something like that,
Yeah, exactly.
That's so catchy. And it's like, it's easy, it's memorable. And the truth of reality is I sat here and talked to Sweet Tooth last week for like 20 minutes about this, attention spans keep getting shorter and shorter.
Exactly.
Like I've, had labels that are like, can you cut the intro? Can we cut this time down? Like there are real conversations that happen on the back end.
Yeah.
And it's because people want the climactic moment right now. They want it right now. And they want to be able to see it, absorb it, attain it, and move on to the next one. And I feel like, that's everybody has a different strength. And I also think that right now, things are so much more easily accessible than they've ever been before. Whereas like when you started, I've had this conversation with like OGs like Virtual Riot, like Funkcase, Must Die, where you guys weren't like looking up on YouTube how to really make something. You guys had to figure that shit out. So, it's more easily accessible than ever. It's easier to do this as it's kind of like the easiest time to try and be the artist, but it's the hardest time to stand out in a unique way.
Absolutely. And it's cool that people are trying to get into it. I have also noticed there's people who want to get into it because like they're interested in it or because like they really like they love music. But then I've also seen the spectrum where people hit me up and they're like, hey, how long did it take you to like quote unquote get famous? And I'm like
10 years.
I'm like, dude, this is like I was like broke until like I was like 24, 25 years old, and I had been making music since I was like 16. I was like, it's not overnight, dude. Like, if you're gonna do this, like,
it's commitment, sacrifice.
You have to love it and like be able to like be broke and put everything you have into making music, and still want it to work. And it's like, he's like, oh, that's like, it's like you think I would be able to make it like in a year? I was like, dude, they're gonna learn how to make music that good to get big in a year. Like, dude, it takes people years and years to refine, just to even be a decent like producer as far as just like knowledge of structure of just terms. And then you're gonna go and like learn sound design, be good in a year, like perfect that.
It's not
mixing and mastering, like there's no way. Like it takes a long time. And it's like I was like, nah. And I'll tell them, I'll be honest with them. I was like, if you really love it, there is no timeline on it. It's you do it because you love it, and things will happen little by little. And you have to have patience. If you have no patience for it and you just want to blow up, then I think you're getting into this for the wrong reason. You have to have a passion. Like I said, there is no timeline. It's like you just do it. You have fun with it. And like, there's sometimes I even forget when it becomes more. It feels like more like a job, where I forget that the reason why I came into this is because like I was just having fun and like things just started happening. I was like, oh my god, like this is crazy. And then I guess, because it is a career at the end of the day and it is a business, like this is how I support my family. So it does get serious sometimes.
Yes.
And
that can take some of the fun out of it, quote
takes,
unquote.
Yes. A lot of it. And sometimes I'm trying too hard because like, I'm trying to make like that next rail breaker. I'm trying to like make that next big song. And it takes so much of the fun away out of it sometimes. And it's like, it's time to like take a step back and like not try so hard and just have fun with it again. And when you, it's happened a couple times where, be on and off sometimes. And like, one thing for me was like I produced like a house EP recently, and that was like one of like the funnest like things because it just took
new and fresh.
There's no pressure at all. It's like because I listen to house music, I love house music, but the thing is like I try not to take anything away from it as far as like maybe not necessarily inspiration, but I try not to have any influence on my music from it because so my music is like try to make it a little bit unique. So that was really fun to take that pressure off me as far as like, like, oh, I'm trying so hard to do this, and it was just fun to like, and like I just released like a multi-genre like EP called Riot Got Sauce, and it was like I don't even know what the genre is to be honest, like hip hop, and like some of it was indie-ish. I don't even know, but it was, and that one there was fun to make too because it's like I'm not just like a bass music producer, like, and I feel like most of us as producers, we don't like we just love music in general.
We don't want to put ourselves in this little circle that we're expected to stay in forever. Because then how do you evolve as an artist?
Yeah.
How do you like reinvent yourself? Like again, like mentioning pop music, like look at Madonna, look at Lady Gaga, like look at like Billie Eilish, like they reinvent themselves. They reinvent themselves. Yeah. So it's like we should be able to maybe not do it to that extent, but be able to explore. And I do feel like even in the time that I've seen, people are a lot more receptive now than they used to be for artists to go out of that circle that they're in.
I agree. Yeah, I've noticed that too. It's a bit more. I think it's like people are like, like a lot of people are just fans of a certain artist,
Mhm.
and it's like no matter what they put out, they'll go and support it. And it's like they might not like it, but they go and support. And
And
it's
that's
like,
okay.
and the thing is like, yeah, I'm not asking for anybody to like any. And the thing is, like, I don't ask or expect anyone to like my music at all.
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, my music might not be for this person. This song that this person likes, they might not like a different song that I put out. And there's no expectations for that at all. And for me, what I think becomes a problem, it's when people find it like almost like necessary or acceptable to go and like speak so negatively on someone else's project like that because it's so unnecessary. Like at the end of the day, like all of us are human and no one likes to hear like if you want to say like, oh, I'm not a big fan of this, that's fine. But it's when you go and like this is trash, this
It
is like
hurts.
yeah, and it's like and it's just like they may not think it hurts. Like it's funny how like one negative comment like that will stand out of 100 of comments,
Amongst thousands. Yep.
thousands of comments, and it's that one little comment saying, "Oh, this is fucking trash."
It's all you think about.
How that will just totally just overshadow like the, all of the positive things.
Mhm.
And it's taken me a long time because I used to reply and like talk shit back to people. I
Yeah.
used to, and and then until I learned I had to accept the fact that at the end of the day, like if they don't like it, they don't like it, and people are gonna say things, and you just have to like be confident in yourself and confident in the fan base that you have built to know that like you aren't trash. That it's
Yes.
just not someone's cup of tea. And a lot of times I've realized that people who say rude things or like that, a lot of times they're smaller artists that are frustrated in their own
They're doing absolutely nothing, or they're frustrating, or they're going against their own struggles, and then they're
right.
taking it out.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they're using your platform, they're using somebody else's platform, the
Mhm.
SoundCloud comments or whatever, to be like, why not me? Why not
Yeah,
this?
it is. And like, yeah, and like honestly, probably like I don't know, 80% of the time, 90% of the time, it is a small artist. And it's like the way I see it is if you're gonna go and like say stuff like that, it's like why go put yourself out there and speak negatively on other people's art, you
When you're
know,
an artist
when it
yourself.
well that and it's like you're making enemies.
Mhm.
Like there's no point in ever having enemies. Like having enemies gets you nowhere in life, literally anytime. But making a friend is like that you can, is like the possibilities are endless with a friend. Like you can ask them for advice, like, hey, like you know what, this is like this feedback for this song. Is there any advice you have for career wise? Instead of going and like talking shit to someone and like shitting on them, it's like, dude, like be their friend, be supportive. Like it's
It's
just
not hard. It's
it's really
harder to
not.
be mean than to
It
be
really is.
supportive, or just if you don't agree, you don't like something, don't say anything. That
That's
you
the way.
know?
That's what I was always raised on. Is like basically, like, if you have nothing nice to say, like if you want to say it in your own personal space and with your friends, like yo, I thought Riot Ten's fucking EP was trash. Cool. I don't see it. You're not being a dick to me. I get it. You don't have to like the music. I totally understand if you don't. But it's when you take the time out of your day, you type something out, you mention me, like you want me to see it, and it's like this is trash. And it's like, I mean, I've learned just to reply and be like, hey man, I respect your opinion. Have a great day.
Yep.
And half the time they're like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, man."
Kill them with
Yeah,
kindness.
it's like they're
That's
like,
it.
"Oh shit, man, I'm sorry. Like I didn't think about what I said. I shouldn't have been that rude." I'm like, dude. I was like, "Hey, dude, you know what? I get it. It happens, man. Like, no hard feelings, dude. Because like it's too much to hold on to those negative comments. It's
100%.
just too much.
And I think like in the conversation, like the topic of aspiring producers, smaller DJs kind of starting to work their way up the ropes or
Mhm.
start to understand how things go. I mean, I will say, you know, the upper echelon in every genre, it's a very small circle. You eventually get to a point where you know everybody and you know their TMs and you know their managers and you
Yeah,
know their significant others. And like it's just that's such a shitty way to like burn a bridge. I'm a huge person on like just be nice to everybody or don't say anything if you can't be nice because
agreed.
I've been in similar situations and I can't imagine the situations that you've been in where it's like you see certain comments, you see whatever. And on my personal perspective, like I don't forget that. You know,
Mhm.
there are certain things that have been said where it's like, you know, totally cool, respect your opinion, but I won't forget you said that about me, or I won't
For
forget you
sure.
said that to me. And I think that real genuine connections and like friendships in this industry or just in life in general will always go further than like a networking event or like something that's like
Yeah.
along those lines.
Right. No, I definitely agree. Like, I always try to surround myself with people like that, like I feel want to be around me.
Mhm.
A lot of times, I feel like sometimes in this industry, like a lot of these artists, they just like hang out with each other because they're like, oh, we're all big. Like let's make this look cool because we're all big together. And it's like it's not really genuine. You know, it's
Mhm.
like when I play a festival, like when I hit somebody up, I'm like, hey, like, stoked to see you. And it's like a friend of mine. And then when I'm like, let's say the day of, they'll hit me up, hey, like, where are you at? Like then that shows that they too want to hang out or like they want to like see me, and it's like it's reciprocated.
Yeah.
But it's like when I'm like, hey, like, like stoked to see you, dude. Haven't seen you in a while, and they'll just like read it, or they're just like
It's like you
whatever.
don't really care.
Yeah, it's like no, exactly. And I'm like, and a lot of times, it's like I'll try again because I understand people get busy, but it's just like it doesn't feel genuine, and and at the same time, I don't expect everyone to want to be my friend either.
Well,
So,
that's the thing too, is
so
like you wouldn't be friends with everybody you pass on the street. So what makes anyone think that you're going to be friends with every person who wants to be
no,
a DJ, in
yeah,
music? You're not going to get along with everybody. You're
right,
not going to like resonate and connect where eventually and I'm sure on your end, I can't imagine how many times, have you gone through points in your career when you've kind of questioned friends and their like intentions of being
right.
around you because so much stuff is happening, and
Mhm,
quite honestly it's a really cool fucking career to have,
right.
and but that comes with so many people that again may not have your best interest at heart at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for me, I have I always try to like see the best in people,
Mhm.
and I think for the most part, it's worked out for me. But there have been times like like with my girlfriend, she'll tell me she's like, hey, like think you should kind of watch out for so and so. I'm not really sure. She always has this really good intuition about people I bring around or people around
My
me.
significant other does
She's
too.
she's re-
Reality check.
she's really
Hey.
good at that, and I don't even know how. Like it's been like 3 times, and every single time she's right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at this
Don't
point,
you hate when they're right? You're like, motherfucker.
I'm like, dude, oh, okay. Like, what do you think about this person? Like, try to like vet them before. But yeah, but there has been some times and stuff like where yeah, sure enough, like people around me or a certain specific people, it just seems like it's always like mainly for guest list, and it's always like always that like, hey man, it's lovely to see you. Like, I'm like, cool, and then oh, by the way, do you have do you still have any like backstage passes or like all access passes? And then me, I'm like, well, I like being around this person. He's cool. And I'm like, yeah, I got you. But then I only get hit up usually for that, and I'm just like,
You're like, oh, this is, yeah.
yeah. I was like, maybe no, I don't know.
I'm sure it happens more times than not, but I also feel like throughout, 14, 15 years of doing this, you
Mm,
definitely, I feel like as you get older, you find better ways to maneuver or tell, okay, this person's, not in for the
yeah.
best interest or not in for whatever.
Hmm.
And then you just have your really small circle of like
Yeah.
homies, like, traveled here with you today and
Hmm.
people who watch out for you. And I think the most important part is just people you enjoy being around.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I think after a while, like make sure like like I have maybe like more so like new like friends or like acquaintances, but as far as like people like in my immediate circle, like people who let's say would get like that I would invite personally first to like, EDC or like these big shows. Like I try to keep that to a minimum, especially if it's like that person that, doesn't seem like they show any interest in any other things. Like and then they ask me like, hey, like how your kids doing? Or like, hey, just checking in, whatever. Or it's just always like, hey man, yeah, I guess this or this. Like, it's kind of easy to see
Yes.
who at a certain like after doing a while, it's kind of easy to see who, you know, what their intentions are.
100%.
And I mean, and you don't. I guess you don't have to want to like be all like about my life or anything to like come hang out with me. Like sometimes I just like hang out with just people just to party because they're fun to party with. So sometimes it's not that serious, but it just when I feel like you're kind of like maybe being used. Like if someone asks for guest list and they come to the show like, hey, what's up? They hang out with you and they go and do their own fucking thing. It's like, okay, well, you didn't come to hang out with me. You came to go and
Party.
go party with other people.
Yeah.
So that's when it kind of like, that's when it's a little bit annoying because it's like, if I'm putting on guest lists, it's because
I want you to come and hang and be a part of what we're
like
doing.
Come party with me and hang out, but not, so it's complicated, and it's funny because it's also not complicated.
Yes.
It's weird.
It's very cut and dry at the end of the day. And also, partying like with you at your shows, like you do create such like a fan experience. Have you always been like a fan of beer pong? Like always backstage at your shows, you do beer pong, you do competitions for beer pong, like with fans and stuff and all of that stuff. Like how did, all of this kind of tie into, I wouldn't necessarily say it's like part of your like branding, but it's like part of like you on the road is like this all the time. Like you're going to have smiles. We're going to party. We're going to have fun. We're going to play beer pong and then we're going to play a killer set. Has that just like always been kind of innately your personality? Or was it something where it's like, hey, like this is something I love and I can connect through fans with doing it. Like, let's make this a part of what I do on like a larger scale.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I've always been like a quote unquote, like party dude, like party person.
Yeah.
I mean, and so in high school, I was always just playing beer pong at these parties, like all the time. So, I just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of brought that with me into when I got big enough to like request beer pong at my shows. Because before, like when I was a smaller artist, they're like, oh, beer pong, like fuck off. We're not gonna go and fucking source that for you.
Yeah.
So when I was able to like actually be able to request that, I was like, why not, dude? Like it's fun. Like there's a lot of times too where like in the green room, like it may not be as fun. Like certain cities, there's maybe not a lot of people like back there. And it's like if you're with the artist, like you can play beer pong with the artist and just make it like a fun little game, And then when you have beer pong like in those big cities, when you have a bunch of friends, then it just becomes like kind of like a competition. People are like, and then you have like random people who are like super cocky about it. They're like, oh, I'm gonna like, it's like you don't want this smoke, bro. And I was like people assume that just because like I guess like artists aren't good at beer pong or something. It's like, dude, like, yeah, it's like I play this shit all the time. So it's like it's really fun and like it's because I'm also a very competitive person. Ever since I was like basically ever. When I used to play sports in high school, I was always really competitive. And it goes on to even like to video games. Like I can't play video games now unless they're like competitive online because then I have to be beating somebody online.
You have to like be achieving like something.
Yeah, like I have to be like I can't just be beating like a computer. Like I have to personally be beating another player like somewhere else in the world. It sounds kind of shitty now that I say it, but
that's not bad.
Yeah,
I get that though. I get that.
It's fun. But yeah, no, and I think what's cool is I've been able to just kind of bring the person who I am along with me to my shows. Like I've always kind of been like, I guess what would be the term for it? Just I don't know. So it's just someone that's always. I don't want to say a bad influence, but I'm always trying to get people to party and have fun.
Yeah.
I always like, like, hey, take a shot. They're like, nah. I'm like, we're like, randomly. I was like my homie here. We were at what was it? It wasn't a film. It was like Trap something. It's a little festival thing. I forgot what it's called, Trap something, but we were talking. I was talking to like some homies, and they're like, I was like, yo. I was like, let's like, they were tall boys. I was like, all right, let's make a bet. And I was like, yo, you get your homie, I'll get my homie, and we'll make them see who can chug the tall boy the fastest. And I'm like, winner gets like $50 or whatever. So we put $50 in. And instead of us chugging it, I went and like, I got my homie. I was like, yo, like, I put you in a bet. You're doing this shit. He's like, what kind of bet is it? I was like, you're going to chug this tall boy. See, you're going to beat this other guy. So he went and he did it. He won too, so.
Oh my God.
But it's like, I'm always constantly trying to make people chug things, like not make them, but like encourage them to.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they don't want to, like, that's that.
100%.
But
it's just part of like it's part of like your shows. Like everybody knows that. Like it's been covered in like B-roll, you see it on your TikTok, you see it on your
Yeah.
Facebook, your Instagram. Like it's like part of like the Riot 10 experience on a whole.
Yeah, I just like for me, it's just like it's amazing to be like to do this in general,
Yeah.
and it's like why not go and like just have fun and party? Like it's just like everyone should be having fun backstage. Like everyone should be having fun in the crowd. It's just like it is like it's just like a celebration. Like why not have fun and like just party? I mean, if you don't drink, then that's totally fine. Like
You can still come and have
you can
fun.
totally have fun
Yeah.
like around me and just be sober. Like I have plenty of friends that don't drink and like
Have a ball.
they love
Yeah.
to, yeah, they love to like come through because it's just, a lot of times it's just me and my friends just basically just like shitting on each other all the time. So it's just funny anyways, and it's like they like to be around just like all that because it's just funny and like I don't know. It's like yeah, like I said, it's just like a party, and it's like I don't know. It's like basically what I was doing in high school, like at parties, because I used to DJ house parties too. So it's basically the same concept when I was like 17, 18, and it's still applied this whole time. So it's like it's been this whole thing though, just for the past like 12 years or something. I don't know.
That's crazy. And it's just like, it's cool that you're still like doing shit that you really enjoy, being authentic to yourself. And
Yeah,
like, you've always kind of like, I feel like you've always like rooted for like the underdog. Like, you always kind of
absolutely.
like really support a lot of smaller acts that are coming up that are making fire music. It's not about the numbers, it's about the music you're making. And like,
Yeah,
I think of people like Burns, I think of people like
yeah,
Sharps, I think of people,
exactly.
all across those lines. And I kind of, I always see the picture of you when you were in like a club on like a DDJ or like something and like a long time ago and then like a picture of you now playing festivals and you've experienced that whole journey. Nothing's been handed to you per se.
Right.
And so it's really nice to see an artist of your caliber really kind of like paying it back, paying it forward, supporting the
Hmm.
community. What do you, as I assume a lot of aspiring artists will be listening to this,
Yeah.
what kind of grabs your eye, like grabs your attention to inspire you to work with these artists that may not bring a lot of benefit on your end, you
Hmm.
know?
Well, I mean, the way I see it is like whether you have like 1,000 followers or like 100,000 followers. To me, it's just like it's literally just all about music.
Mhm.
If there's something like unique that I hear about a certain artist has, or like potential, like I've always been really big on potential. Um, I've always like I guess had like an ear for like certain like or like good music, I like to believe at least, but
Yeah.
and it just literally is all about music, whether like I said, and I always try to like my tours, I try to bring because a lot of times, yeah, you're right. It's about numbers. Like, the agencies and the venues, they want you to bring someone who's gonna obviously gonna bring more tickets. And I totally get that. At the end of the day, it is a business. But I try my best to like bring people whose music I fuck with. And a lot of times, you know, whether like them and I like talk or like we're like friends, or like not necessarily only my friends, but like people who are supportive though. That's the thing, and I think that's another thing that goes into like if I see a smaller artist always commenting on my post, like saying, "Oh, like this is dope," or like just showing support, like that goes a long way. And I'm not sure, I'm sure most people have to understand that or know
Mhm.
that, but yeah, like if you show support, like I like your music, you know, it's like that's obviously a huge plus,
Yeah.
in getting it just into my radar and any of that. Like it's like simple, to
It's
be
very
honest.
accessible to like find a promo email or find an
Mhm.
email and like reach out. And,
Yeah.
whether it's your story or you're sending an EP or you're sending a demo off and like, hey,
Yeah.
like maybe you'll like this, you'll rinse it
Mhm.
out. I feel like it's in the age of like the internet and all these social media platforms, it's so easy to develop these like relationships with people.
I agree.
And build over time until, something happens, musically, or you meet in person at a show, or you do X, Y, and Z. And that's
Yeah.
how everything kind of like blossoms.
Yeah, and it's like, you meet people randomly at, like, at shows and, like, they're like, "Hey, can I send you music?" You listen to it and it's, like, dope, and you start talking a little bit, you're like, "Yo," they send you, like, a whip, and you're like, "Oh, shit, this is actually dope, like, let's work on this," like, and it's I honestly, I think the idea of collaborations is just, like the concept of it is very, like actually kind of crazy. Like you're combining, you know, two or more people's thoughts and ideas, and then to this one song to like make something like to make something. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I know the way I describe it sounds like, yeah, that's called a collaboration, bro. I get it. But like the concept of it is just like it is crazy
No,
because
it is crazy.
you know?
And I feel like it's more accepted in other genres than in what we do. I think a lot of times, like if you look at, I always say, click the three little dots on the Spotify track, go to songwriters, go to writing
Uh-huh.
credits, and really see how many people come together to work on certain tracks. Because sometimes you'll have like 20, 30 people, like
Yeah.
writers, producers, mix, masters, lyricists, all of that. And usually in dubstep, it's like maybe 3 people max. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
it's usually just the artists themselves and that's it. Like
Yeah,
there's no
and that's it.
there's no like third party
yes.
like writers, third party like you know contributors. It's just literally just the artists themselves. But yeah, you go to like pop, that's like
Hella people.
there's like 8 writers, 8 producers. It's like and then like plus like 2, 3 engineers. Like holy shit! Like, but I also get it because at that scale, it's even more of a business.
Yes.
And it's like these people are paying, like these labels are paying millions of dollars to these artists. So
you're working for one idea on this certain measure, and then we go to this next one. And
yeah,
then we go
it's
to
like,
this
okay, we
next
got
one.
we got different writers. Like, okay, this is the vibe we're going for. Okay, we're gonna go source out these writers because these writers are like known for like this certain style. I mean, pop producers are insane though. Like,
Insane.
I forgot. There's this one dude.
I think of people all the time, like Ludwig, like people who are just like even like Childish Gambino, like looking more in like hip hop. Like some of those guys who wear multiple hats or just sit in the producer
Dude.
seat are insane, and they know how to
Yeah.
like really embellish like simplicity. Like dubstep in
Exactly.
general is not simple.
No.
Like you, and I think that also it gives us such a skill set, but it also like when something isn't there, we're like
Mhm.
something else needs to be here. Something else
Exactly.
needs to. This isn't big enough.
We overdo everything because we're so used to having to try to fill every little gap in everything that we just like, which is funny because like I come from like a hip hop background,
Okay,
so I started making hip hop first.
makes sense. FL.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Right.
Yeah.
So and back then like it was Reason or like FL back then, and I tried Reason and Reason's fucking insane. So I was like, nah, I'm going to FL.
Reason's insane.
Yeah, I was like,
Reason's insane.
FL is so much more like visually nicer. So anyways, yeah, hip hop thing. And it's so I went from being a little bit more simple to now when I try to produce hip hop now after producing dubstep, it's like I overdo shit sometimes and I don't leave enough room for vocals to sit because it's just sometimes it's a little bit too chaotic.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Shit.
Speaking of music, you have an EP dropping tomorrow, right? Yeah. Am I crazy? Tomorrow.
Tonight at 10 p.m. Yeah. Well,
10 p.m.
technically, yes.
It'll be like 10 p.m.
10
here,
p.m.
EST 12.
Correct.
Right. And then like
Yeah.
Central Time, like 11. That was always a trip when I moved out here.
Yeah.
In Florida time, it would always be at 12. And then I was like, oh, fuck, it's out. Like,
You're
it's
oh,
out now.
Yeah, like, I have to go post shit. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so tell me about the EP.
So it's called the Sheesh EP.
I know. I love it.
I was just like, so I actually have Sheesh tattooed like right here.
Oh my God, the shit.
It wasn't because of like the EP, but I just already had it. I had it like a year or two already, but
Yeah.
because I'm always just saying
You always say that at your shows
Yeah.
too, and everybody goes off.
and it's so yeah, it's called Sheesh EP. 6 songs.
It's a big EP.
Dude, it's because I produce so much music, and it's like, I think like last year, or year before that, I like released like I don't know, like 20 songs or something in a year, and then this year is gonna be probably like another 14, 15 songs.
The output's insane. I mean,
It's just a lot of music, and then like it's just I have so much music, and I know a lot of people that throw away songs.
I was about to say, do you trash songs?
I don't, dude.
Okay.
I think that's my issue though. Is I just want to, because I feel like there's a listener for everything.
Yes.
Like what I may not like, or-
Somebody may love.
yeah, and it's
You're
like
always shook by that when you hate something, and then
Yeah.
somebody's like, "This is my favorite song by him."
yeah. There's this one. It's called "Don't You," and I thought it was cool. It was different of a song of mine. It was different from what I usually do, and I was like, okay, it's gonna do all right. It's like not gonna do anything special, and then it ends up getting like millions of plays, and I was like, okay, so people like it.
Perspective.
Yeah, exactly. So it's okay. So that's why I don't like trashing songs, because it's like someone might like the song. Like, I don't want to just put it, I just want to throw it away. So, but I do see that also the side. It's like when you have too many songs, it's like the quality control. Some people may not think like, okay, this is, you're not putting out your only a concentrated body of work that's just all good shit.
Yeah.
But then I like I said, then I have to think like, fuck, what if someone liked it? But anyways, yeah. So yeah, this EP 6 songs. I worked with like Colossal on this one, Vandals,
Sweet. Love the Vandals' voice. They're great.
Wales,
Love them. Great.
Nat James. That was first time working with Nat James. He's a vocalist, I believe, from I want to say UK.
Cool.
I'm just gonna guess UK.
Yeah.
He has that accent, I think. Sorry, Nat James, if you're not from UK.
Like, yo.
If you're listening to this, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I feel like I'm missing some more people. Oh, JV Rhymes did some more so vocals on it. I feel like I'm missing somebody and I feel so bad. Nah, I don't think so.
We got it. I love it.
I think I got everyone. Yeah. Okay. I hope so.
Is it coming out on DIM MAK? You independently releasing? Where is it coming out?
It'll come be on DIM MAK.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, that'll be out tonight.
Tonight,
so,
technically.
Yeah. So tonight in Denver, we're gonna play like basically all the songs. I think maybe. I don't know. Sometimes I like. I'll play one of my songs live and it doesn't go off. I like don't ever play it again.
Really?
Yeah. And
no.
I think what I need to realize is that a lot of these shows, like you go to see an artist, like you expect them to play like their music.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just like, I don't really like this song anymore though. And it's like, fuck, I still need to play it because people go to see like you play your songs just like someone would go to see like. So I'll go to a concert, like you can go to like a Drake concert and expect to hear anything else. I mean, I guess it's different for rappers because it's not a set.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit different. So we'll see what I play tonight. I mean, I think I have like a 90-minute set tonight. So I usually do 75. So I'm going to have an extra like 15. So probably, I don't know. I want to play some house music.
Kind of mess around, go in and out of genres a little bit.
I always try to like switch it up because I personally, I wouldn't want to just play fucking just hard dubstep for an hour straight. Just pure hard, like nah. Like I have to throw in some like trap in there. I have to like throw in some more like weird like what kind of vibes kind of catch people off guard. Some like just quote unquote like hard sigh, I guess.
Yeah.
Just things that like catch people out of like
out of the blue. They're like, oh shit, because that's what shakes people, and it also like you can play a good 30 to 35 minutes. I feel like of dubstep, play 4 to 5 minutes of a different genre, and it like it resets people. They're like, okay, like we're here, like a crazy long edit or something like that, where when you get back to the heavy shit, they're like, okay, we're ready to run bold. Like,
and I feel like it catches them like not. And it's funny because like necessarily catches them off guard because they know that they're there for hard dubstep, but like it's still. Why did I say hard dubstep? Heavy dubstep. Hard trap. I'm thinking of hard trap. Anyways, yeah. But when you go back into it after just switching the genre a little bit, it just hits. It hits again. So like, and I've always been like, I've always liked all types of genres basically. So it's always nice to switch it up. Like basically when I play, I'm playing like what I want to hear. Like I'm basically having fun up there. Because I feel like if I was just playing whatever, like what I thought the crowd wanted, I feel like then I wouldn't be having fun.
And it has to be a balance. Because if you're not having fun, you can see it. Exactly.
And it's like I've always really been big on like energy on stage. Like I'm always trying to like, it's like you feed off each other. Mm-hmm. You know, like if I see the crowd is not really feeling it, then I start to kind of feel like, damn, like maybe I suck. Maybe they just don't like the set. And then I kind of started getting in my head about it.
Yes.
And then you can
all it takes is you getting in your head to completely throw a set out the door.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, it works both ways.
Definitely works both ways. Well, I'm super excited to check out the EP. I know you had a single with Wales drop previously, and then we'll get the whole EP tonight, tomorrow. So excited. Yeah. Before we go, I'm going to give you like a small flash round of questions that the fans want to hear.
Okay.
All right. We're going to go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay. How did you get into pickles and pickleback shots? And what's your favorite brand of pickle?
Ooh, okay. Favorite brand of, I'll start with that. Favorite brand of pickle. They're called green kamikazes. But yeah, they have like lemon pepper pickles. They have something called protein pickles. So I guess there's like protein.
No way. Oh.
I don't know. One of my manager's assistant, he actually got the protein pickles and he said they were pretty fucking good. So there's that. But they have spicy ramen pickles. They have like loaded potato pickles. They have maple bacon pickles. So and then the maple bacon pickles, they come with bacon inside, like in the jar. Then the ramen ones have like some carrots in it. I don't know, it's crazy. But so
Fucking wild.
like you could only order them online though.
Only online. Okay.
Or if you live in the same city that you have their shop at. But I would 100% 10 out of 10 recommend. How did I get into pickles?
Like your whole life you've loved pickles kind of thing?
Yeah. So funny thing is like in Texas, or at least in El Paso, they serve pickles at the movie theaters. So what you would do is you would get a popcorn and you would kind of just like get, bite popcorn, or you could get a handful of popcorn and you would just chase it with like a bite of a pickle.
No way.
And like it honestly, I mean, that's one of my favorite combos like ever. Like it's perfect. So I think since then I've always kind of been into pickles. And then I'm always like with tequila, I'm always like a baby. Like I love tequila, but I'm also like a really baby, and I fucking always make faces and I'm like, ugh. So I was like, damn, what if we use like pickle juice? Because I know they do pickle juice for like Jameson shots.
Yeah, the pickleback shots.
Pickleback shots. So I was like, what if we just use pickle juice for like the tequila shots? And like for me, it works because it literally just erases any like trace of alcohol in your mouth because the pickle juice is like so just
potent.
Yeah,
it's there.
So that's basically how it all came to be. Yeah,
love it. 2 of your most memorable favorite venues you've ever played. Think music venue, club, not festival.
Like a club?
Yeah.
Not a festival venue?
Not a festival venue.
Oof. Damn, that threw me off. Okay, shit. No. I mean, Webster Hall is like a legendary one in New York, so I do like Webster Hall a lot. There's so many venues, dude.
I know.
I mean, I really do enjoy playing at the Ritz in Tampa.
Yep, they love you. They always love you.
That's always a really good place
always
to play.
A party. Okay, you gave me 2. Now do 2 festivals.
2 festivals?
Yep.
I mean, as far as like venues, I'm gonna have to pick like the Gorge and Red Rocks.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of those. So
nope.
Yeah, so.
Absolutely. Like shout out Denver. It's so crazy living so close to Red Rocks. It's
dude,
just
right?
Fucking insane.
I always forget. It's like, dude, right? Yeah.
It's right here.
Yeah.
I need 5 tips for aspiring producers, DJs, just starting to figure their shit out.
Okay. 1, don't forget to always have fun. Don't forget the reason why, like, you got into it because you found it fun. So don't forget that. 2, don't listen to any negative comments. Everyone's gonna have their opinion, and you have to obviously, like I said, like be confident in yourself, go along with it, and just ignore them. Take breaks. Like I said, make sure you don't burn yourself out. Remember that like you're not always gonna just be 100% on producing, like, at a high level. You're gonna have times where you make music that sounds like shit, like for like sometimes months, dude. Like sometimes people go in these writer's blocks that are just terrible. So trust the process, take breaks, get back to it.
You got this.
I don't know why I'm blanking out. It's too much pressure.
So I know. I'm just throwing like a million questions about you. Like something that you wouldn't expect to tell someone, like from your experience as an artist, your journey, reflecting back, what's something you wish you did?
That I wish I did?
At an earlier maybe point in your career.
Oh. There has to be something.
There has to be something.
I guess, I mean, honestly, this is something that's always gotten me more bookings, more just opportunities. I think would just be, I mean, but it's kind of just like a normal thing. It's just like be kind to everybody.
Yeah.
Honestly, because
that's a good piece of advice.
I think it's just like treat everyone equally. Like whether it's a fan, whether it's like, and even this goes like, whether it's like someone just random on the street, like you treat promoters the same, you treat the fans the same, you treat other artists the same. Just treat everyone with respect and be kind. And like there's been times where I'm just like personal and like, hey, like thanks for having me out. Just saying thank you. Like that could guarantee you that promoter brings you out next year, 6 months, 8 months, whenever they think about like leave an impression, but like make sure it's genuine. Don't be nice because like, oh, I'm gonna get more bookings, but just be a good person and like realize that you're no better than anyone else. And everyone's literally the same. Everyone has feelings. Everyone is just trying to fucking be happy. And that's it.
I love it. Yeah. Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Appreciate you having me.
I'm glad we could do it. Talked about everything under the sun. All right, you guys. See ya.